The banquet luncheon just wouldn't do. You see, what happens after the funeral is a family affair. The luncheon must be simple and private.
Ma, that's not playing fair.
I really can't think what you mean. This isn't a game. It's my cousin's funeral.
Now, look here, Mrs. Hedgehacking. I'll tell you something for nothing. If Heather doesn't get a luncheon, you don't get your lying in state, and that's flat.
Oh, please don't shout, Mr. Landprice. We're in a public restaurant. I'm sorry you take this attitude. I can only say how surprised the local newspapers and Mercia Television will be. You see, I'd arranged for them to cover the ceremony. I told them of your generous cooperation, but now...
See what we're up against. There's a very nasty word for that sort of thing, you know. I don't know what you call it in county circles, but among decent people it's called blackmail.
Naughty words. We don't use them here.
Well, I do.
So it seems. And now you'll kindly apologise to my wife.
Damned if I do.
Now, Royston, please don't quarrel. My husband's very upset about this. Lord Swent was one of his directors. And we've invited a lot of very important city people down for the luncheon.
I don't want to discuss anything until your husband's apologised to my wife.
Oh, Charles, darling, don't make angry noises. Sit down, sit down. I was just a bit quicker than Mr. Landprice, that's all. He's not used to it, and he lost his temper. Let's forget it. As to this director's luncheon, I don't think that has much to do with the family. Oh, it's very sweet of all these tycoons to come to Cousin Harry's funeral, and I'm sure they would be very grateful if you gave them a meal. But the family luncheon will have to be a simple one at Mattock's, our family home.
But Royston's told all these city people they're going to meet the county.
Shut up, Heather. I don't think you realise for a minute the importance of your cousin's position as the chairman of the Metropolitan Realisation Trust. And he was on the board of Bilfar.
As I hardly think Swent was a serious businessman. If we want to think of something important that he did, we might remember what a first-rate master he was.
Oh, I didn't know he was ever a teacher.
I mean master of the hunt, Mrs. Landprice.
Oh, yes. Yes, I wanted to have a talk with you about that hunt, Hedgehacking. Yes, I was very sorry to hear that you're in financial deep water.
What's that?
Well, I don't know how much I'll be going out myself, but I shall have friends staying with me who no doubt will want to follow. So I thought it was fitting for me to make a large donation to the cap, do you call it? So if you let me know how much you're in trouble, I'll give you a cheque for twice that amount.
I've no idea who had the impertinence, and I may say the dishonesty, to gossip about the hunt's financial state. What you've heard is a complete lie. Perhaps you'll be good enough to contradict it whenever you hear it. As far as membership of the hunt goes, that is, of course, a matter for the committee. On my word, darling, I thought you were exaggerating. But I can see we're in for a great deal of unpleasantness.
All the unpleasantness is coming from your side. My wife has had the generosity to offer a luncheon, and this is all the thanks she gets. I know we were coming into a backwater, but I didn't think we were going to live amongst savages. I don't think you realise for a minute what I intend to do for this county now I've bought the Abbey. I propose to build a civic centre in Swentbury for the sum of £200,000.
And a civic centre will put Swentbury on the map.
What is a civic centre?
I've a good mind to withdraw the offer. Look, you can force me by blackmail to let you have the Great Hall. But there's been no publicity yet about the civic centre. I shall simply withdraw the money.
My dear Mr. Landprice, I don't know why you should want to spoil a charming little market town like Swentbury by building some hideous playground or whatever it is. It's the last thing anybody wants.
That is not the opinion of one or two of the more go-ahead councillors.
No, I'm sure it isn't. When I said anybody...
Just a minute now, you better let me explain to the fella. You seem a little confused about these matters. What the town council of Swentbury decides to do is of no interest to the county whatsoever. Well, they're excellent fellows, established tradespeople. We've dealt with many of them for years. But they go their own perfectly good way and we go ours.
Well, we should go on ours now. All this rumpus has upset my tummy.
If you take my advice, Mrs. Landprice, you and your husband will go ahead with your go-ahead councillors and leave the county alone.
Don't let her talk to us like that, Royston. We could buy them up tomorrow. There'll be no lying in state, let me tell you that. And no funeral either. Why should there be? The church is on our land. You've got no right to use it. Royston, don't let them use the church. It's on your property. You close it.
Close the church? Don't be ridiculous, you silly woman. Your husband may own Oxford Street, but he is neither God nor the bishop yet.
There is no need to be blasphemous, Mrs. Hedgehacking.
I hardly think it's for people from London who live for cocktail bars and swimming pools to come down here and try and teach us our religion. We have a tradition of church-going at
Well, it's a tradition that will have to be broken until you can learn some decent manners. That church is on my land, and I shall ring the bishop tomorrow.
Oh, well, you like the bishop. Yes, he's a great friend of ours.
That does not free him from the laws of property, Lady Colm, no matter what you think.
Don't bully Lady Colm, sir.
No, it's quite all right, Charles. I don't feel bullied.
One thing must be clear. I do not want Peter continue going to that house anymore, Clarissa.
Well, the sooner that stops, the better I'll be pleased. John's already learned nose-picking from your son. We want him to grow up a man.
I don't know how offensive you mean to be about my son, madam, but at least Peter doesn't spit when he talks.
My son does not spit.
Oh, leave them alone, Charles. They're quite impossible.
Oh, what about you? You're so grand. You live in such a small, petty little world. You don't even realize